What's going on, guys? No guys here. Welcome back to another video. Now today's video we've got the 4-4-2 second variation tactics and instruction. Now this will be an attacking 4-4-2. I wanted to make a 4-4-2 which was very attacking but not too open defensively. That's the big issue. When you play the 4-4-2 defensively, many people struggle because the strikers are too far ahead, and then with the two centre mids in the midfield, they have no stability. That's why I went with the 4-4-2 second variation. But I didn't want to compromise the attack. The key thing is with the 4-4-2, you have 4 players, including your left mid, your right mid, and your 2 strikers up against your opponent's 2 centre backs, left back and right back. So when your opponent's parking the bus, a 4-4-2 is a really good formation to get through because you use your centre mids to manoeuvre around your opponent's edge of the box and then make a pass to a striker. And a simple fake shot, and it is pretty much a goal. We're going to go into all this in a second, but the most important thing is about wing play. Especially during team of the season now and post-team of the season where footies are coming up next, you want to have good, fast players on a wing. The wing play is one of the most important things in a 4-4-2. We devise like a narrow system. However, we have the left mid and right mid kind of running from wide positions. So you have that balance of the left mid and right mid being wide as possible during the build-up. But in the final third, they do come short and they do come close. So you have that availability and also the active distraction. But without further ado, let's go straight into tactics. Now going straight away into tactics instruction, this part's really important because this part will differ if you're an elite player or if you're a gold player. So it's really important you understand why I say certain things, that way you can implement it according to your playstyle. So with a 4-4-2, you left in an ultra defensive slot, don't worry, it doesn't mean anything. The most important thing is we've gone with this 4-4-2 second variation as opposed to this one. The problem with this one is that you have 2 centre mids. Now why this is a big issue is many of you guys that struggle who are below elite, if you use the 4-4-2, the 2 centre mids are too far high up the pitch. If you're losing and you need to get a goal guarantee, then you can use this formation. But if you want to use the 4-4-2 from like the first minute, you need to play a more conservative approach. So we've gone with the 4-4-2 second variation with the 2 CMs where they sit a bit more further back. They protect your outside of your box, but also they have the cut passing lanes instructions, which I'll get onto in a second. So defense style we've gone with balanced. There's no point using drop back. You might as well play balanced. The most important thing with a 4-4-2 is you want to have a balanced system where you're not too far back. Because the only issue with having the players too far back in a 4-4-2 is that if you have players all the way back, dropping back, you might see this on a pro level to some extent, but it's not worth it because they need to manually defend outside this box. Because you only have 4 players, if you make a mistake, your opponent could easily do a 1-2 around you. So do be very careful. You don't want to give your opponent too much space on the outside. Stay in pressure every touch. I would honestly stay completely away from all the pressing tactics. The reason why is the biggest issue with a 4-4-2 is defending with these 2 CDMs. If you move one CDM out of position, most of the times your opponent has basically like 2 strikers in behind. So the issue is if your opponent has 2 strikers in behind and you pull for someone like Kante out of position, you're in seriously big trouble. So there's actually no point using pressure on heavy touch, in my opinion, or press out of possession loss. It's just going to kill you. If you really want to just go into the game and you're losing last minute, you can of course use team press. Now with the width, now the 4-4-2 is naturally quite a wide formation. We've gone with 4, just 1 below normal because the 4-4-2 naturally is quite a wide formation. The reason why is also you don't want too much of a big space between these 2 CDMs, because what people will do is if someone plays a diamond like a 4-2-3-1 and they have the 2 strikers in the cam, you don't want these 2 CDMs to be too far away because you want to right stick switch between them constantly to mark and close the gaps, because if you don't and they're too far away, you're going to end up in a situation where your opponent can just easily get through or try to play around you because you're getting outnumbered. So do be careful with that. So I have gone with 4, and that way at least you block the wing area as well to stop the driven through balls down the wings. Now the depth, now I'll be honest, this formation is an attacking formation. If you want to use this with a defensive formation, I would pair this with a 4-2-3-1. So I would say maybe start with the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-4-2. And let's say, for example, you want to close out the game, I'd recommend changing to a 4-2-3-1. But let's say you're losing, this would be the formation you keep and you stay using this formation. Now I've gone with a depth of honestly 5. Now this is important. If you find this is too attacking for you and is not suiting your style, then push this back to 3. I do play it on 5 though because I want to be higher up the pitch. I want to win the ball back higher up the pitch and I want to play attacking. Let's be honest, Ultimate Team season, this is the last weekend. If you're watching this on a Sunday, it's now footies. Everyone wants to have fun now. No one wants to just sit back and park the bus. So I would say 3, but if you're not used to using 5, but I'd recommend using 5. Now offensive style. Now this is one thing that's kind of debatable. I've gone with long ball for the simple fact is it does create a good balance. I want the left mid and right mid getting in behind on their own, but I don't want the instruction getting behind. I don't want to have the left mid actually on getting behind. they don't perform the same way. So I'd rather have them on balance, that way they sometimes naturally come short, because don't forget, instructions always override tactics. So by leaving these support runs on balance, sometimes the left mid and right mid, they come inside. Because we want them to come inside, that's why we not put them on get it behind. So it's better to have them on balance so AI can decide that. So during the build up, they'll run forward, but in the final third, they'll come towards you. So you go on long ball, and obviously as well with the centre mids, sometimes you're going to have some of the CDMs over here, and you have the left back and right back pushing up just a little bit more than usual. They'll still be on stay back while attacking, but they'll just be a bit more further up the pitch. So there's very good attacking formation, and players will be making runs going forward. So yeah, so long ball is what we've gone with. You can try balance if you do like it, or you can try possession. I really wouldn't recommend possession in the 4-4-2 unless you really know what you're doing, if you're like an elite 3+. But if you don't like balance, I'd recommend long ball. But even I myself use long ball. So normally I say if you're below elite 3, use long ball. But I'll be honest, at this stage, I think this formation, even I use long ball myself. So that's something to bear in mind. Now the width, this is one that's kind of somewhat important. The 4-4-2 is naturally quite a wide formation. But we have the left mid and right mid on stay wide. Now this is why this is also important, is when they're building up, they're going to be as wide as possible. For example, like in this clip, you can play through ball to Vardy down the wing. So you want them to be very wide. But in the final third, you want them to kind of come inside, because most people are going to be playing overload the ball side or a narrow width anyway. So you want these guys to make these darting run inwards to give you more space. And basically, what you want to do is during the build up, you want them to be as wide as possible. So you have a great, so if these guys are as wide as possible, what's going to happen is there's going to be a greater distance between your two strikers, your left mid and right mid. But that means your opponent's going to be spread out. It's going to have a left back here, right back here, and two centre backs over here. So there's going to be bigger gaps for you to exploit in between. So that's the reason why I've gone with kind of stay wide, but I'll get on to that in a second. But that's why I've gone with a narrow width. I don't want to be too far wide apart. In the final third, I want to be a bit more close together. And plus, I want the two strikers to be close enough so I can link up the play. Same with the two CDMs. If they're too far away, then it's too much of a greater gap for the 1-2. So that is why I've gone with 4. I do think it's appropriate balance. Now, in terms of players in the box, I've gone with 3. In my opinion, the two CDMs, you want to be very careful. If you really want to, you can drop this down to 2 if you struggle with the counter attacks. But I've gone with 3. Now, why this is important is if let's say for example your opponent is defending, and let's say you do go past and you go down the wing. Now don't forget, players in the box is only referring to crossing situations. Okay, when you get the ball, your left mid or right mid over here, both your left mid and right mid and your two strikers are still going to get into the box, because we're going to have an instruction to override that. So don't worry too much about getting into the box. The reason why I want this on low is because you want players to be outside the box. You don't want them to be on any more than 3, because the two CDMs, if they're too far forward, then what happens is you can get easily done on the counter by only having 4 players left. So I think 3 gives an appropriate balance. That's what I've gone with 3. I'd recommend 300%. And also, when your opponent's parking a bus, whereas 2 CDMs, you don't want them to be too close to your strikers as well. So that's why I've gone with 3. One thing I was going to say is, do not forget, this is only a crossing situation. So it's only if you do like a driven pass down the wing and then you get the ball. And I think the CDMs are in good positions to work their way back into the box as well. You don't want to be crossing the ball inside the box most of the time. Corners and free kicks, you can put them on however you want. I normally put them on 1 because I passed mine. But obviously do remember, depending on how you change it, it might affect, for example, if you get countered or whatever. Now, going over to instructions. Both strikers will come back in offense. If you have someone like Ben Yedder, put him on conservative interceptions. The key with the 4-4-2 second variation is you want to use the 2 strikers and you want to basically select them and run back and defend with them. It is really, really important. This is how you use the 4-4-2. Like, look at these clips. The biggest mistake I see that players below, I would say Elite do, probably even below Elite 2, is they run out with their CDMs too much. In a 4-4-2, you have to control your strikers first and almost defend from the front. You can't get away with defending from the middle like you do with a 4-2-3-1. Now, left middle. Now, I left them on, as I said, left them on balance. You can put someone like Neymar or someone like, if you got Ben Yedder, on conservative interceptions for the simple reason of stamina. The left mid and right mid, what we've done is we put the get into the box. Now, remember the tactics, we had players in the box is 3. Now, even though players in the box is 3, if you apply get into the box for a cross, it overrides it. So that means that when you go into the balls, let's say for example, you go into like this situation, you have the ball, the opposite left mid will come inside, opposite right mid will come inside. So that's why I put get into the box. Come back on offense, and this way when you're defending, these guys, they go back, you defend in the 4-4-2 and you don't get doubled up. And having them on stay wide, so they're very, very wide in the build up. Now, as I said, in the final third, don't have these on come short or get it behind. So naturally in the final third will actually come and help support the strikers. That's why again we use long ball. One thing I did do though is I put conservative deceptions on. I think this is really important in the 4-4-2 conservative deceptions, because I just think it just gives you a bit of safety. It's like a safety net. If your right mid does go out of position, at least he'll somewhat stay in a conservative area. He won't overcommit and allow you to get doubled up. So that's what kind of way I've gone with it. And it does conserve stamina as well. That's the reason why I've gone with that. In my opinion, you ideally want to play 2 fast players. So I put Hour here just for a joke. I'll be honest, just try him out here. But you need players with 90 pace, in my opinion, down this wing if you really want to excel in this formation. 2 CDMs, both stay back while attacking, pass lanes, cover center. If you do want to make this attacking, you can, of course, put 1 CM to join the attack or balanced. Ideally, if you have someone with medium defensive work rates and high attacking work rates, I think this is a really good combination. So high attacking and medium defensive, they fit perfectly on balance. If you've got bad work rates, you can put them on get forward. But this is only if you want to be even more attacking. So that way you have basically your 4 players against your opponent's back 4, and you have 1 kind of center mid kind of running forward from a deep position. The left back and right back, we just gone with very simple. Left back and right back stay back while attacking. We haven't put them on overlap because with long ball, sometimes they just go a bit too wide. And if you do lose the ball during a build-up play, you don't want to get done on a counter-attack. That's the reason why. In all honesty, look, you don't need a mega team for this. But the most important thing is these 2 CDMs have to be fast. You need to be able to recover. You can't be using Casemiro in the 4-4-2. They're just not fast enough. You need someone with 85 sprint speed and above, especially at this stage of FIFA. Left mid and right mid, 90 pace plus, I would say, in all honesty, because the wing positions is how you really use this formation. Like, just look at, as I said, you've seen this clip already before. That's how you get into the final third. And then when you get the ball to the strikers, you can create a 2v2 situation where you have 2 centre backs up against 2 strikers. And it's up to him. If he makes a mistake, you're through and he's in trouble. You can put one of these players on false 9 if you really want to, or target man. I would say put the person that's got the best dribbling on target man. That way you can pass the ball to his feet and then do a 1-2 between the 2 strikers. I wouldn't use get it behind because everyone is parking the bus. And false 9, I'll be honest, only use false 9 if you really know how to use it properly. The reason why is, if you're going to use false 9, you might as well just use the 4-2-3-1 anyway. The reason why the false 9 used to be a bit better before is that people were parking way too deep, but you can use play with false 9 to kind of come in from a deep position and kind of dribble. But now, since everyone's got team and season players, everyone's got OP centre backs, I don't think it doesn't really work that well. It's better to have the 2 strikers up against your opponent's centre backs, almost pinning them in position. And anyway, that is the 4-4-2 second variation. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you do have any other questions, of course, do let me in the comment section down below. And if you do enjoy this video, we've got some more videos as well coming up, so feel free to subscribe as well. And please don't forget as well, if you do have any questions regarding any of the formations you may want now, it's coming to the end of the FIFA cycle. I want to release like the 4-3-3 Pep Guardiola formation, the 4-4-2 Wenger's formation. I just want to have some fun now. Let's be honest, footage is now out now. I know some of you guys are still going to play Weekend League like myself, but we're not going to play all our games. So do let me know. But then anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Take it easy and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.